Top of the rankings, Power Rankings presented by Google Pixel. Learn more at googlestore.com. When the top 3 teams lose, you're going to have movement. 3 undefeated teams down, 2 undefeated teams left. And I decided to make the Dolphins number 1, leapfrogging the Eagles. I haven't gotten much blowback from Eagles fans on this. I think they know the Dolphins have beaten better teams. Plain and simple. The Dolphins have beaten better teams. And the Dolphins took the best and the most punches that the Bills could offer, and they still emerged with more points than the Buffalo Bills, somehow. So the Dolphins are in the number 1 spot, and they'll have it until somebody beats them. And I assume we're not going to see the 72 Dolphins 50 years later, but who the hell knows at this point? The Dolphins have looked pretty good so far, Chris.
Yeah, they have. I have no problem with you making them 1 or 2. I probably would have made the Eagles 2, who have won really kind of won all 3 games somewhat, handily. But I get it. And, I think to that point is it's one of the most talented rosters in football, and they are still kind of finding their way. So I'm there with you. I think the thing that jumps out to me more than anything is just, so far here we are. It's just teams are still finding their way, right? It's hard. Teams are a little sloppy. It's hard to look at it and go, wow, there's a lot of great football teams right now, or at least teams that we look at to go 1 or 2 where we go, oh, I think they're going to run away with this for sure. We'll see as this plays out, but right now I do think you look at the Dolphins and Eagles, and they've clearly been the cleanest and best playing football teams in the league as far as consistency is concerned.
Let me get to a question from Fred Durf on Twitter. Do the Jaguars, who are now number 11, I moved them up 7 spots after they thumped the Chargers, do they win the AFC South? It seems like Doug Peterson is just what they needed. Chris, do you think they win the division at this point?
They're capable. They are capable. Mike, this is my man crush team. I know you don't listen to my podcast, and I don't expect you to. It's just
I hear you say it otherwise.
I know. Yeah,
I'm
okay.
aware.
I know. Sometimes I'm not sure if I say it here or I say it there. But they're the team that, I've kind of had my eye on, ever since the offseason with some of the moves. Then we saw them in person at the Hall of Fame, and I just went, holy shit, do they have studs everywhere. This is unbelievable. And now they're kind of confirming that. I do. I think they got a real chance. I think they're that team to say, again, I'm not picking the Super Bowl, but that team like last year with the Bengals where you go, they came out of nowhere and are a force. The Jaguars have a lot of the makings there. Trevor Lawrence is playing awesome, and we saw the defense can be dominant. I mean, very dominant. I think there is a good chance they can win the AFC South. What about you?
How long until Urban Meyer finds a way to take credit for what's going on?
I built that team. I did it. Yes. Yeah, he's going to tell us that at some point, I'm sure. But, what's your eye? What's your spaghetti and meatballs tell you about what you're seeing from the Jags right now?
I think they're in a perfect spot to keep it going because I still think that the league at large has yet to wake up to it. And there's that process you have to go through, and we went through it last year with the Bengals, where it takes time to accept that when you look at a Jaguars uniform, the players wearing that uniform are good enough to kick your ass and are going to kick your ass.
Right.
And it just takes time.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
I see the highlights and I just think,
that's the Jags.
About the Jaguars. And that plays to their benefit. I think it really does. Now, by next year, it'll be too late if they continue to play like this and win the division and get to the playoffs and make some noise. But I think it does benefit them. They are not yet a measuring stick team. It's too early. And no one's going to buy into it yet. And, hey, Chris, they go to Philly this weekend. What a game that is. Talk about a sneaky great game.
Boom. That's where I was going with it. It is a sneaky great game. You're right. I'm with you. I can't wait to watch that. I mean, Dougie P back in Philadelphia, he's going to want to shove it up, where the sun don't shine on that crew there. And, to your point here, they're one of the few teams I see in the first 10 games against the Eagles to go, they actually have the horses and the pieces to not be overwhelmed by the Eagles' talent. The Eagles it's probably the best roster in football. I look at them, the 49ers, the Dolphins as having the most complete rosters in football, up there at least. The Bucs are in that conversation. I think the Jags are starting to be in that conversation. I'm excited to see that one. Physical, big, strong, fast guys all over the field. Sneaky great game.
This is from Paul. Which of the bottom quarter of the teams have the best path to being a playoff team this season? So that would be the final 8 teams. If we can pull that up and take a look. I would generally say a team from the NFC because I think the path in the NFC is going to be easier. And you see packed there at the bottom 4, the top 3 teams, or the bottom 8 rather, the top 3 teams of the bottom 8 are all in the NFC South, Panthers, Saints, and Falcons. I think one of those 3 teams could end up winning a wild card berth.
I would not be shocked, and I don't know. Yeah, I think I'd probably pick the Saints still, even though it hasn't been pretty. I'd probably go with them, just because I feel like some things are at least in place, and but they got to find their way a little bit. They do, and last week they're another team that made some big time mistakes to let Carolina kind of control that football game. That game should have been a lot closer down the stretch. But I still think I look at the Saints to be that team that could kind of make a jump and make a run into the NFC playoffs. What about you? You think it's one of those 3 pretty much?
I'm going to be a prisoner of the moment and say the Falcons since they're the most recent ones to win. But they had that 16-point lead over the Saints to start the season. And as long as Marcus Mariota stays healthy, and who knows, maybe if he gets injured, Desmond Ridder comes in and plays well and gives them the spark they need. But they got Kyle Pitts involved. Cordell Patterson is as good this year as he was last year. Because he's a little bit older, I guess there was a thought, the wheels are going to start coming off for him. No, he was awesome not. Against the Seahawks. They go to Seattle and win. That's impressed me. I think the Falcons are the team that I'm watching now in that bottom 8, and maybe the Lions too, if they can be a little more consistent.
Right.
Marty has this question. Did the Broncos' 1-point win over the 49ers really deserve shooting them up by 11 spots? Their run defense was only good when Debo was in the backfield, and their offense was atrocious. Are they really that much better than the Chargers, Patriots, or Steelers? Well, look, I don't care where a team was last week. I mean, I am influenced by it a little bit, but it's a snapshot of where they are right now. And they moved up because the teams that were in front of them lost for the most part, and didn't look good. I mean, the Chargers didn't look good. The Patriots didn't look good. The Steelers didn't look good. And the Broncos ultimately won. For as ugly as that game was, the Broncos got their act together at the right moment and drove down the field and scored a touchdown to win the game, and then put the clamps on Jimmy G and company when they were trying to get in position for a game-winning field goal.
That's right.
So they won the game.
Right.
They beat the 49ers.
Right.
None of us expected them to, other than Matthew Berry, who got a free belt buckle from the Broncos for being the lone wolf. First place is you get the belt buckle. Second place is you actually have to wear it. But, they won. Credit to them. They moved up 11 spots. It's all relative, and it changes, and it will change. I think they got the Raiders this week, a desperate Raiders team, and we'll see if they can handle them. I think that's who they play. We're in that weird mode where we begin to shift to next week.
They are. You're right.
So I don't know all the games. So, if they hold off the Raiders and send the Raiders to 0-4, then they deserve that spot.
Well, yeah, I agree with you there. I don't know. I think the thing I would say is, like, are they that? They're better than the Patriots and the Steelers right now. I am going to put them in that. The Broncos could very easily be 3-0. If they don't fumble on the 1-foot line twice against Seattle and 46 left hash doesn't happen, I mean, they were the better team on the field that night. They should have won the game. Things are a little ugly right now, but that's, I think, the way they're going to be here for a little bit. Russell Wilson's still finding his way. Russell Wilson, to me, is not nearly as magical as he used to be. I think he's got to start playing a little bit like he did on that last drive and creating some plays. And he's got to throw the ball over the middle a little bit more. It can't always be like, oh, I can't see and I don't trust it and I'm just never going to throw an interception. He certainly has not been spectacular either, but they're a defensive football team that has shown they can run the ball, and I wouldn't be shocked if we see them win a lot of 20-14 games, 17-10 type of football games. But I think you're justified with where they're at in this power rankings.
But you're right. We need to see more of the Russell Wilson that we saw at the end of the game, and I think as time goes by, and Nathaniel Hackett, the new head coach, is kind of working his way through this early season struggle, but they're 2-1.
Yes.
For a team that feels like they're 1-2 or worse.
Right.
They're 2-1, and these wins in September are money in the bank for your playoff positioning later in the season. Let's take a break. An update on Myles Garrett, plus plenty more to come on this Wednesday edition of PFT Live, presented by Google Pixel. Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.